Hello! Xavier Crowell, will this guy be a surprise when it comes to which team he'll end up joining? Could he come to Bama? Before the news comes out, subscribe to the channel. He's one of the most sought-after running backs in college recruiting, and he's in a decisive phase of his career. With several scheduled visits to different renowned programs, the young athlete has been attracting attention not only for his undeniable talent, but also for the uncertainty surrounding his final choice. Among the teams in the running, the Alabama Crimson Tide appears to be a strong candidate, but the competition is fierce and other college football giants are doing their best to secure his signature. Crowell has made it clear in recent interviews that he's carefully analyzing each program, taking into account factors such as personal development, style of play and future opportunities. He mentioned that the coach's vision for his role on the team is crucial. "I want to be in a place where I can grow as a player and as a person," Crowell said. "I want to be put in a position where I can shine, but also have structure around me to help me get better." That statement leaves room for speculation about which programs are excelling in that regard. Alabama, led by head coach Kalen DeBoer and offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb, certainly has a lot to offer. The Crimson Tide's legacy in developing running backs is unquestionable. Players like Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram and Najee Harris all came out of Tuscaloosa ready to shine in the NFL, and that certainly plays a role in any prospect's decision. Plus, with Alabama needing to further strengthen its running game, something that has been widely discussed following the departure of Jalen Milroe, there's a clear opportunity for Crowell to take on a prominent role early on. The idea of being a key part of one of the most traditional offenses in the country could be extremely appealing to him. However, the competition is relentless. Teams like Georgia, Ohio State and Texas are also in the running, and each of them has a compelling case. Georgia, under Kirby Smart, has built a dominant defensive system in recent years, but has also shown an ability to integrate powerful running backs into its offensive scheme. Ohio State, known for its ability to prepare players for the NFL, offers a huge stage in terms of media exposure and high-level rivalries. Finally, Texas, under Steve Sarkisian, is looking to rebuild its program and transform it into a national powerhouse again, which could attract athletes who want to be part of something bigger. Another interesting point is that Crowell has been cautious in his statements, avoiding giving clear clues about his preferences. This reflects maturity and an understanding that this is a crucial moment in his life. He knows that his choice will affect not only his career on the football field, but also his future off the field. "It's not an easy decision," Crowell admitted. "Every program has something special to offer, so I'm trying to take my time." For Alabama, the pressure is on. We know that Nick Saban and his staff have always been masters at making big-time signings, but this is a different story. With Kalen DeBoer at the helm, the program is expected to continue to have some of the best talent in the country. In Crowell's case, the Crimson Tide needs to show that they can offer not only a solid game plan, but also an environment that allows the young athlete to thrive both on and off the field. Xavier Crowell's final decision promises to be one of the most anticipated moments of this season's recruiting campaign. For Alabama fans, the hope is that the program's prestige, combined with the need to revitalize the running game, will be enough to convince the running back to don the red and white. However, with so many other teams in the running, it remains to be seen what fate will befall this young talent. Will he come? J.C. Latham's analysis of college football transfers is provocative, to say the least, and reflects a critical view of the impact that players leaving Alabama can have on their careers. During his appearance on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast, Latham was not afraid to express his opinion frankly, stating that for 95% of the players who left the Alabama program, the decision to transfer was not a good idea. His justification is based on a simple but powerful argument. Players who leave the Crimson Tide often lose the visibility and level of exposure that only a program like Alabama can provide. Latham, who spent 3 years at Alabama before being selected by the Buffalo Bills in the 2024 NFL Draft, witnessed firsthand the exodus of more than 50 players who entered the transfer portal during his time in Tuscaloosa. He points out that while some of these athletes have sought fresh starts at other programs, few have achieved the same level of success or prominence that they likely would have had they stayed at Alabama. This observation raises important questions about the motivations behind transfer decisions and the actual results they produce for most players. The former Alabama offensive lineman acknowledges only a few exceptions to his general assessment, mentioning names like Caleb Downs and Trey Amos. Downs, who transferred to Ohio State after Nick Saban retired and his defensive coordinator departed, found an environment that was conducive to his success. He became a unanimous All-American and is now considered a top prospect for the 2026 NFL Draft. Amos, who opted to go to Ole Miss, also had success, excelling in the SEC and earning a second-round selection in the 2025 NFL Draft by the Washington Commanders. However, Latham stresses that these cases are exceptions, not the rule. The key issue here seems to be the gap between the growth potential offered by Alabama and what other programs can provide. Alabama, under Nick Saban, has always been known for its ability to develop talent and prepare them for the NFL. The structure of the program, combined with constant exposure to high-profile games against other SEC powerhouses, creates an ideal environment for players to prove themselves. When an athlete decides to leave that ecosystem, they inevitably face additional challenges to replicate that same level of success. Latham's comment is all the more relevant at a time when nil-related opportunities are transforming the dynamics of college sports. Players now have more financial incentives to explore different programs, especially those that promise big off-field returns. However, Latham suggests that the glitz of these offers can mask the reality that not all paths lead to the same destination. For many players, the choice to leave Alabama may seem appealing in the short term, but in the long term, it could jeopardize their chances of achieving their professional goals. Another interesting point Latham raises is the role that program stability plays in players' trajectories. With Nick Saban retiring, many players may have felt uncertain about Alabama's future and decided to seek new opportunities. However, Latham argues that this uncertainty does not necessarily justify the decision to leave. Even with changes in leadership, Alabama remains Alabama, a program with resources, tradition, and a support network that few other teams can match. For Alabama fans, Latham's words serve as a reminder of the inherent value of the program. While other teams may offer tantalizing promise, few can compete with the Crimson Tide's ability to turn talent into stars. For players considering leaving the program, it may be time to consider, is the green grass somewhere else really worth the chance to continue growing under the shadow of a giant? As Latham aptly put it, for most players, the answer may not be as clear-cut as it first seems. How strange! Ryan Mosley's decision to commit to the Georgia Bulldogs, foregoing an official visit to Alabama, is yet another example of how college football recruiting is becoming increasingly unpredictable and competitive. The four-star prospect, who attends Carrollton High School in Georgia, is considered a versatile prospect who could shine at both defensive back and wide receiver at the college level. His final selection, however, surprised many observers who were hoping to see him don the red and white of the Crimson Tide. Prior to the announcement, Mosley had a short list of 5 programs among his favorites: Alabama, Georgia, Nebraska, South Carolina, and Texas A&M. Of those, Alabama appeared to be a top contender, especially since the player was scheduled to take an official visit to the Tuscaloosa campus this weekend. This visit is often seen as a crucial step in the recruiting process, as it allows players to get a better understanding of the program, interact with coaches, and get a feel for the team environment. However, Mosley decided to cancel his trip to Alabama, opting to end his decision and commit to the Georgia Bulldogs before he even set foot in Tuscaloosa. This decision raises questions about the motivations that may have influenced Mosley. For many Georgia players, the Georgia Bulldogs represent not only an opportunity to stay close to home, but also to join a program that has been on the rise in recent years. Under Smart, the Bulldogs have won recent national titles and have built a reputation for excellence, especially in developing defensive talent, something that may have played a role in Mosley's decision, given his potential as a defensive back. In addition, Carrollton's proximity to the Athens campus offers a significant logistical advantage. Players often value the ability to have their families present at games and events, and that local connection may have been a key differentiator for Mosley. The fact that he is already embedded in the Georgia sports culture, where the Bulldogs are widely idolized, may also have strengthened his emotional connection to the program. On the other hand, Mosley's decision to cancel his visit to Alabama highlights the role that timing plays in recruiting. In a landscape where other programs are constantly pressuring players to make quick decisions, Alabama may have missed an opportunity to convince Mosley personally. While the Crimson Tide has an unparalleled reputation for developing NFL talent, the competition is fiercer than ever, and teams like the Georgia Bulldogs are proving that they can offer a package that is attractive enough to pry players away from the clutches of Nick Saban and his staff. Another factor that may have influenced Mosley is the rise of NIL. With changes to the rules that allow athletes to monetize their image, many players are carefully evaluating the financial opportunities available to them at each program. While Alabama is known for its ability to attract sponsors and create lucrative opportunities for its athletes, Georgia has also excelled in this regard, but either way, it missed out on playing for a giant team, don't you think? Comment.